How's it going, everyone? And welcome to the 20th episode of Sip Talk. We're doing things a little bit differently this week, and here's why. I recorded an episode with my good friends Sean McDaniel and Dillon Nageotte, two regulars who have been on the show, and we probably recorded for about a good, at least an hour, and I didn't want to edit any of it out. So we're doing two episodes. The first episode, this one, is actually the back half of the conversation. We're talking NBA playoffs, we're talking sports, politics, the usual stuff. And then later this week, we'll be dropping the first half of our conversation, which is where we debate states. But right now, NBA playoffs, football, college football, sports, society, politics, all the good stuff. Hope you enjoy.
All right, we should probably talk sports, right? I mean, there's literally just a game 7 and game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Sean, you're a basketball guy. That's why I drag you here. Where do you want to start?
I think we got to start with Clippers Nuggets because holy shit. Like, this is a monumental collapse by the Clippers. Like, I think Doc Rivers should be fired immediately. You have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on the same team, and Paul George shoots like I would if I were in a game 7. Like, it's insane. They just lost to lunch lady arms, okay? Like, I want to see Lakers Clippers so bad. The NBA's been hyping this matchup up ever since like Paul George went to the Clippers, and it's not going to happen. Like, out of here, Clippers.
Jokic looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
That is so accurate.
I feel like the Clippers gave up too much to get Paul George. I feel like they could have gotten someone with similar productivity for less. But, I mean, you got playoff P. Like, one thing that's been clear in the NBA for the last, 5 to 7 years is that Paul George will not get you to a final.
No, he got outplayed by Joe Ingles the first year of his year in OKC. Joe Ingles.
I think the bubble does play a bit of a factor because there's no way that Jamal Murray is this outside the bubble. There's no way that Jamal Murray would be what he was without this break and this new scenery.
Yeah,
I think the only reason I think the Jazz could have beat the Nuggets in a regular series if the NBA hadn't stopped. I think the only reason why Denver got the best of the Jazz and they blew that 3-1 lead was because they're in the bubble. There's not a whole lot of distraction going on. You don't have to travel back anywhere very far. You can clear your head pretty quick. And Jamal Murray was just this was just a scrimmage in a gym for him.
Mm-hmm. Like, all you have in the bubble to focus on is just basketball. That's it. Like, teams are more well rested in the bubble. There's no travel. And this allowed Jamal Murray just to go off. And also add the fact that the Jazz just didn't defend him well. Like, they didn't send a single double to him, in all the games that I watched. The Jazz were missing Bojan Bogdanovic, who was our second leading scorer, and he's a bucket. And I think that really hurt the Jazz.
Also, there were just games where Rudy Gobert looked absolutely terrible.
Oh, he was so bad. Like, I was so mad at him. COVID Cauley Stein.
All right. Sean, I know you want to get to this. You can rub it in. Game 1, Eastern Conference Final. What were your thoughts?
Holy shit, Bam. Like, what a block. That was like, get the fuck out of here type of block. Like, yeah. That was insane. Like, it's good. This series is going to go to 7. Like, it's a coin flip at this point.
They're very evenly matched.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed was that a lot of turnovers on both sides, some caused by great defense, some caused by just pure error and not being good at basketball for a brief second. Kemba was okay. He hit some clutch shots. Tatum wasn't hitting those clutch shots in overtime. Marcus Smart looked amazing. I need someone to poke the bear. I need someone to rip on Marcus Smart. I need someone to get him angry. If this goes to a game 7, then the Celtics have to be up 3-2. It needs to be tied 3-3. And Duncan Robinson needs to chirp Marcus Smart, because the only reason why Celtics won game 7 against the Raptors was because Powell poked the bear. That was the only reason that they won. So I need someone to poke the bear. I need the Celtics to be slept on because I think they're better when we're slept on. So I need the national media to try to tuck us in and tell us good night. Because the Celtics are like a nightlight. When people turn off the switch, that's when we turn on.
Yeah, I know. I think the Heat's depth in this series is going to be an X factor. Like, the Celtics got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, probably the best two players on the court in this series. But then you look at the Heat's
and
roster.
Kemba.
Oh yeah,
and Kemba when he's hot.
Forgot about Kemba. But you look at the Heat's roster; they got nothing but quality players. Jimmy Butler, Goran Dragic, Jay Crowder, who's been he's been a revelation in this series. Like, I have not seen Jay Crowder play like this. Tyler Hero, who could be a star if he develops to all he could be. Duncan Robinson, who doesn't miss any open threes. Like, he has so much depth, and I think that's where they can potentially pull off this upset.
But I feel like you're sleeping on the Celtics' depth. Like, Brad Wanamaker actually played well today. Like, Brad Wanamaker has been solid. Like, when you don't have Tice playing, who's been one of the most underrated players all this playoff, you have Robert Williams, who's just an absolute athlete. You have Grant Williams, who can hit threes and plays lockdown defense. Like, Grant Williams has been putting in quality minutes. Like, do not count out the Celtics' depth in all of this. The Celtics have a lot of depth. They're just players that you don't really hear from a lot because they're kind of boring. And if they can get Hayward healthy just to play a few minutes later on in the series, I think they'll also be another big factor.
I agree. Like I said, this is going to 7. There's no doubt about that. And I just think, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think
I'm not. This is gonna be another stress-filled week and a half. Just like the Raptors series, it's gonna be emotionally draining.
I can only catch overtime of this game, but if all the games are played like that, sign me up for 6 more games of this.
Yeah, I can come over and watch. Oh wait, you can't.
Oh yeah.
Because somebody's a bubble boy, and we're about to go shelter in place because we're U of A, and we can't stop getting COVID because Greek life.
Cool.
I'm sorry. I'm just angry because we lost game 1.
No, it's all good.
I shouldn't be taking it out on you. I'm currently watching Tim Legler break down what the Celtics are doing. It's on mute, so I don't know if Legs has our back, but oh God, it's the BAM block. I don't want to watch this. I'm going to turn off my TV right now. We're just going to flip that off. Dillon, any hot basketball takes?
I haven't consumed any media other than music in a week. I really
that sounds so
know
nice.
Nothing currently.
Really nice.
That sounds so nice. Do you know how stressful my life has been watching the Celtics?
Dude, it has been nice. It's been a nice break, and even though driving can be tiring, it's been nice to just kind of hang out and just kind of take the 40 and just hang out for a few days. Especially since it's not an inconvenient thing where we have to find hotels or whatever. We just crash out in the car whenever we're done for the day. So
I consumed 0 NFL football week 1. 0.
Same. I saw the Cardinals won though, and that was really nice to see. I heard Kyler Murray had a nice showing. So
my whole thing with the NFL and especially college football being played is that it all just feels kind of dirty. There's always immoralities in sports. There's always dirty stuff. There's always shady shit. Yeah, there's always stadiums that displace people. It's always about money, and they don't actually care about the fans. But you can always put that aside with the fans and the pageantries and the big plays and the roar of the crowd. But you can tell that there's just some leagues who actually care about player safety, actually care about trying to give a quality product while keeping public health in mind. And then there's just football. There's the NFL, who has never cared about the health of anyone. If the NFL cared about health, they wouldn't play football.
Yeah,
the
well,
sport
there was the whole
causes
thing about
the sport causes brain damage.
Yeah, I was going to say there was the whole thing about them sweeping the CTE research under the rug just to not have such a negative representation or whatever in media. Yeah, it's really not surprising that it's. I mean, more and more we're being proven that a lot of things are just in it for money, whether it be colleges or some sports leagues, etc. So it's kind of sad, but it's fun that there is media to consume once I arrive at my destination.
I love college football. It's one of my favorite sports. I can't watch it. We don't
Yeah,
deserve it. They should not be playing. There's schools where they're not having in-person classes, but they're having football. Like I watched so much freaking soccer over the weekend because they kind of deserve it. Like I started watching a team in Rotterdam called Feyenoord. Shout out to my boy Tees, loyal listener. I'm watching Feyenoord on ESPN Plus in the Dutch league, and they have fans, and it's like, you know what? They kind of deserve 30% capacity because they took it seriously. Rugby in New
yep,
Zealand, they deserve 30. They deserve fans. Honestly, like England, they don't have fans for Premier League, not yet, but I think they're getting there. But like European soccer, they deserve fans. It's like, you know what? You guys earned it. You guys bunkered down for 2 weeks. You all wore masks. You took it seriously. You can have your sports back. But America, being the selfish and ignorant people we are saying, I'm not going to give up any personal freedom because it's my life and blah, 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 blah. And then the Big Ten cancels football. How dare they cancel my college football? I need it. What do you mean they're canceling college football? It's all a hoax. And you have to explain to people in Iowa that, hey, you didn't take it seriously. You don't get football. And now they're like, we're actually going to bring back football. And I'm like, your cases haven't gone down that much. Your cases
yep.
are rising. The fact that the Kansas City Chiefs had fans is unfreaking believable. The Kansas City Chiefs had the same percentage of people in their stadium as Feyenoord is going to have this weekend. And
Well, and their booze for
Yeah.
certain things showed the kind
I'm
of
getting
people
to
they
I'm
are.
getting to the racism to begin with. But what I'm
Yeah,
saying is South Holland is I think at like I think cases per million in the South Holland region is at 3,000, and the cases per million in Jackson County is 6,000. Like it's twice as many cases per capita. And
yep,
but like in South Holland, their peak was in April, and it's gone down. Jackson County in Missouri, in Kansas, their peaks were literally just a month ago,
yeah,
and they're starting to go back up again. Like, what are people doing? And have the audacity to boo, not even kneeling the anthem, because look, I'm you know me, I always support protests, kneeling the anthem. I don't care, but like it was such a plain, like it was barely even a statement. They linked
yep.
arms in the name of unity, and they said, boo, dance, entertain me. I don't want any nuance. You play football, risk your entire retired life for me, even though there's a chance you'll get brain damage and have all these problems, or you might blow out your knee. I'm a paying customer, and
I
you're
was just gonna
here to
say,
entertain me, even though it's not even during the game that I'm paying for. It's during the pregame. You have to entertain me because I'm a loyal Chiefs fan, and I'm going to wear my headdress whether they like it or not.
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the NFL knows their demographic too, which is exactly why. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, including money, but the money comes from the fact that they know their demographic, and so they're not going to do anything like try and enforce, COVID restrictions or safety nets because their whole fan base is just yee-yees. So it's really sad, but not at all surprising to see how week one went during this crazy year. And just last time that Sean and I were on, we were all saying how we just thought that college football and maybe even NFL football just shouldn't have a season. Definitely college football. Every conference and every campus we said they should just not have it this year, but here we are, unsurprisingly. So
just the fact that they didn't say anything, like, in that, like, moment of unity or whatever, like, they weren't saying, like, Black Lives Matter, like, ACAB, like, stuff like that. They just linked arms, which is pretty much says nothing. And to boo that and then immediately cheer these same players on for 3 hours, and, like, it just shows me that they just view these people as just entertainment and not human beings, which is just sad, in my opinion.
Well, it was just blatant, obvious racism because
Yeah.
are you really going to boo just linking arms in unity? Like, are you kidding me? Like, they were obviously reading into it so, like, obviously it is exactly what it is, but they did it as middle ground as they could, and people were still booing them. And I was like, okay, you guys are really just showing your true colors with this
Like,
one.
it was never about the flag. Like,
No.
Never. It was only disrespectful to these people until right-wing news outlets told them it was disrespectful, until politicians told them it was disrespectful, because these people don't actually think for themselves. They really don't. I'm not trying to generalize Republicans, but I will generalize the type of people that were booing at that Chiefs game. And those people don't actually know what they believe in. Those are the same people who say, I'm a Republican, so I like small government. And then when we send federal troops into Portland, we say, good, we need law and order. I'm like, that's the biggest form of government you can do. Do you believe in small government or not? And the truth is that they actually don't know. They only believe what they are being told to believe or what they think is the right thing, but they don't know their own hypocrisy. And I'm not, and honestly, like, you can say the same thing about people on the far left too. It's totally reasonable. You can make that argument. But I'm talking about the people who are booing at that Chiefs game, and it's the stupidity and the hypocrisy is unbelievable. And the sad thing is that that's so many people in our country. That's no matter what side of the political spectrum that you're on. It's the politics.
Well, there's so much bigotry hidden in not only politics but religion too, and I mean, people love just saying it under that guise, but I mean, everyone knows what it really is. But yeah, it's both parties suck so much. It blows my mind. And like you said, it's the case for both sides. It's just mind-blowing how bad the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are all around.
They both just give me headaches. I love to say, America, number one in freedom. We're actually 52nd. Do you know why? Because countries with freedom have more than two options. Like, having two options is not like the normality of true democracy will never happen. But like, God, I hate to be
300 something million people, you get two choices.
I hate to be a study abroad douchebag, but when I was in New Zealand,
let's go.
What a democracy. Oh, they are crushing it over there. It's unbelievable. Granted, they just, my New Zealand sources told me that they had their first anti-mask, anti-COVID rally. Yeah, I know. It's not part
so good, New Zealand.
No. It was that's the thing. I got a text from one of my friends and she was like, yeah, this is like awful. And she showed me a photo. I'm like, it's not that many people. She's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, that could be one household in Indiana for all I know. Like,
dude, our perception is so screwed up. It's so bad. When we see it happening, we're like, oh, it's not that bad. It's like, wow, we're really in a sad state here.
Yeah.
You want to know how I know it's that bad? Sean, let's go to that news story that was trending on Twitter from St. George, Utah. Can we do a little bit of a breakdown? We talked about it when I was talking to you yesterday, and I feel like we still couldn't wrap our head around all the insanity. But now that we've had some time to digest it, can you tell everyone about St. George, Utah, and what the hell that video on Twitter was?
Okay, so I saw this video. So I opened Twitter. So for my morning Twitter, don't talk to me until I've had my morning Twitter, okay?
Yes, sir.
I saw this video from St. George, Utah, where they're just basically having a no-mask rally. Like, and the first thing that pops up in this video is this little kid that says, like, more people died from the flu than corona, and it like felt so rehearsed. Like it felt like his mom or whatever just told this little kid who had no idea why he was there to say this to a reporter. And shame on the ABC for Utah by having that kid on, by the way. Like, just irresponsible reporting. And then this fucking Karen like gets on and says like George Floyd, like something like George Floyd died because he couldn't breathe, and now we're saying we can't breathe, but we have to wear these masks. I'm like,
Oh
get out of
my
here. Like that's so
god!
I forgot about that. I forgot about her. I was still thinking
Oh,
about I was still
that
thinking about the
is-
old lady saying that child molesters love masks, and
also, that
I
makes
couldn't
no
I
sense
couldn't think
either.
about why that works.
What is she talking about? Like that makes zero sense. Like she's thinking like Bill Clinton linked to like Jeffrey Epstein. Like I don't know. That makes no sense. Like
Dylan has taken his
I can't
glasses
explain it.
off in disgust.
I would like to reiterate that I knew none of this because all I've had is music. So this is all just dropping on me right now.
Oh, you
Given
missed a lot.
I retweeted it on my
It's
Twitter.
Utah, so like I
Yeah,
could have
St.
just
George, Utah. Yeah.
I could have thought about it for about 10 seconds and just assumed all this was happening, but it's still really sad to hear.
Like my state is an embarrassment. Like it's so sad.
You know where you don't see that?
Boston.
Massachusetts.
Guys, my battery.
Like
No, look, we had a few. We didn't have a big one. Like, I don't think we had like a big anti-mask rally. We had a few people who are saying it was after our governor was like, we're not having church services, and most of the state was just like, yeah, that's smart. We probably shouldn't have large gatherings. But I think it was a church in like Worcester who's defying orders, and then people protested that masks, being like, yeah, like down with tyranny. And then they were just like the Fuhrer, Charlie Baker, which is really funny because Charlie Baker's a Republican. It's so funny. Massachusetts is like, our senators and House members will always be like so left. Like it's like we're the state that like Elizabeth Warren represents, and like Ed Markey just won the primary for the Senate race. But like we've also had like Mitt Romney as a governor, but Bill Weld as a governor. We have Charlie Baker as a governor, and they're all great. Like it's weird. Like for some reason we love our moderate Republican governors. And
I think
I love on, sorry to interrupt you, Dylan, but I love on Twitter when people are just like, Democratic run states are blah, 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 blah. And it's like Massachusetts, and it's like, we're a Republican run state. And then someone will just be like, Republican run states are so good. Blah, 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 blah. Look at Massachusetts. And we're like, don't include us in that list. We're not one of you. You can't prop us up like that. Get out of here.
I was just gonna say that I think that, I mean, back to the two-party thing, is like it's gotten so polarized somehow, even though the vast majority of people reside somewhere in the middle. And so it's really not that surprising that Massachusetts has, or Boston or whatever, has had good luck with centrist or more centrist people, because that plays to the majority. And so it's really shocking that it isn't more common practice. And people try so hard to go to the two sides.
On our ballot this year, there's one of the the prop questions on the ballot. One of our, well, because I mean, is marijuana on the ballot this year? Just checking.
People think it will be. I don't know if it's been confirmed, but presumably it'll pass.
All right, because Massachusetts, we legalized marijuana the last election, but then so one of our questions for this election is for the state government. I don't know if it's due for federal Senate races, but I know for like state governor and other races, the voting system would be like how they do in Australia, and you vote by like priority, like who you like. So if there's 4 candidates, ranked base voting, yes. So that's on the proposal, and like honestly, I'm kind of down for that.
Good.
Because
yeah, it's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea. I think it would be good where everyone can feel represented, whether you're far left, far right, center left, or like dead in the center. And what it'll also do is it will force cooperation, because you'll get to a point where maybe like the candidate on the center right is struggling because the candidate on the far right is getting all the people who generally vote Republican. That candidate is going to be kind of forced to be like, look, like, I don't think I can win, but like, I don't want the candidate on the far left to win. I don't want like that dead center candidate. I'm going to like cooperate and team up with the guy on the center left. And maybe I can get my supporters to vote for him. And it's kind of like they do in other countries where you have these coalition governments. It forces cooperation. And I think for a small state like Massachusetts, it will be really good. So I'm voting yes for that.
Dude, that's awesome too. Ranked base voting has been theorized for a while now that it would work out much better than just how we do it now, where it's one or the other. And I've been an advocate for that for a while, because I think it would also help a lot more for third party representation. Because if you have somebody who is, you know, a diehard Republican, but then, you know, their second choice isn't going to be someone who's far left, so then you're going to start having third parties come into play that but in this current system would never ever have a chance of winning. So I think that's probably the only potential way we can get out of this mess without a complete redesign or restructuring of our current system.
You know what I like about the ranked based voting is because regular voting, you get the thrill of voting for someone that you want to win. But ranked based voting, you get the thrill of putting the person you hate last. Because it's one thing to vote for someone to go against Joe Arpaio. It's another thing where you get to vote for the person you want and put a big fat like 8 next to Joe Arpaio and go, not today, Sheriff Joe.
Yes, sir. I like that thought process. That's a good point.
Also, I think ranked choice voting also forces you to like look at the candidates and like actually like
do research.
Do research. Like a lot of people just vote like whether they're Democrat, Republican, and like.
Dude, I looked at my voter ID the other day for some reason. I forget why, but I hadn't looked at it since 2018. And I pulled it out and I just had a nice big bold letters, no party. And I just felt so proud.
Here was my idea, and I had this. I want to save this for politics, but I'm going to say it now. I had an idea back in 2015 during the Republican primary that would have changed the U.S. voting landscape for the better, because there was like 16 candidates, right? So why not make primary voting like March Madness? Don't shove all these people on a big stage. You do like head-to-head debates, or you do like groups of 4. And then you do like round-based primary voting. And they should have done that for the Democratic Party, because here's what you do. You could make a ton of money by selling the rights to these debates. Like how much money Turner already puts into covering March Madness on like TBS and TNT. Imagine how much money they'll pay to get those debates on CNN, for Fox to get those debates, to televise these like head-to-head debates. People could bet on it. That'll probably lead to an outstanding amount of corruption, but I'm just saying you could. And so let's say you're a Democratic voter. You go into the first round primary and just be like, okay, I want Buttigieg to win this one. I like Warren in this matchup. Like you almost fill out a bracket round by round on who you like. And then the results come in. And then it's round 2. And you do it until you get to like a final 4. And then you have your regular primary.
Can I tell you the issue with this, Pete?
Yes.
The issue is that it's a good idea, and we're talking about the RNC and the DNC. So it would never happen.
But do you know how many young people who vote? Why don't young people like voting? Because it's boring. Because the debate with 10 people is boring. You know what young people love? March Madness. You could get frat boys to fill out BRAC and just be like, dude, I can't believe Buttigieg got knocked out round 1, bro.
Exactly.
Well, and the other issue is that our current system is so good. Hence, let's look at the Iowa caucus. That went really well. So our current system is here to stay, I think, and it should be.
Yeah, I probably should have factored in voter suppression.
All right, boys. I joked about it before, but my battery really is going to die, so I'm going to have to bid you farewell.
Well, that's good because we've probably talked about way too much. We covered a lot this episode. Dillon, farewell. Sean, any last words?
No.
The king.
I'm Pete Siffis. This is Sip Talk. Thanks for listening.